Hey guys, I thought I'd do a tour of my kit bag. This is the Veto Pro Pac Tech-MCT. I've been using it for about a year now. I haven't changed a lot through the past 6 months or so. I've added some things, but I haven't really taken anything out, which means that the kit I have in here is what I need. I can do about 90% of all my jobs, servicing, repair, with this. Little background, I'm a plumber and gas engineer. I mostly work on combi boilers, but also other gas appliances, water mains, etc. Most of all that I can do with this bag alone, and then I've got an OTMC in my van. Now, first thing you'll see here on the outside is a Klein magnetizer. You can put a screwdriver through the top hole and it will magnetize the tip. And the bottom 3 holes are demagnetizer, so once you're done, you can demagnetize it or leave it as is. Now, I'm going to turn it back, quarter turn. Let's take the shoulder strap off for now, because that'll only get in the way. If it wants to come off, that is. It doesn't, well, that's fine. Off the side here, I've got a brass bristle brush. You can buy these from Valent. I use that to clean electrodes. If the manufacturer says you can clean the electrodes, some things you may not touch. Here I've got a Kyoritsu volt stick, which I very rarely use. I prefer to use my multimeter, because that way I'll know for sure if something's dead. This can give a false reading, and once you've touched 230 volts, you don't want to do it again. But that sits on the side of the bag right there. And then next to that I have a little brush for cleaning heat exchangers, etc. Just brushing something out if it's very dusty. So, you know, fits right there in the tape clip. And here, and this is a pretty cool thing. This is a this is made by Skinth Solutions, which is a guy based in Canada. I believe it's a business he runs with his wife. And these are handmade pouches. And what I've got in there is a small backlight solitaire. And this is the LED version, so not worthless like the normal mag light. I've got a Leatherman mica, which are spring-loaded scissors, and a few other tools. I've got a Schrader core removal screwdriver thingy by Beta, and I've got a little parts box which just fits in here. So that's great. Great. Then another quarter turn. Get my tape loop. I hooked it just on these 2 D-rings, because on the side I have other stuff. This is PTFE tape rated for both water and gas, so I feel free to use that. Next to that is my, this is just electrical tape, and this is PVC tape. And let me take that off for now, or I'll, like so. Oh, that's nice. In this little pocket I've got a mini pipe slice by Rotenberger. Goes up to 22 mil, which is good enough for me. You know, if I get a real job, I would take my big pipe slice with me, but this is nice for in a pinch or in tight spots. And then beneath that I've got a little Gerber AEB knife. And this is the one I beat up. Got one of the Urban blades in there, but very nice and slim. And this is the one, the blade I beat on, so to say, to scrape silicone grease and whatever else needs scraping. Then in this little pouch I have a Cyclop bit ratchet. There's a 4mm in there. great for removing diverter valves in the Bosch boilers. Worcester in the UK, Buderus in Germany. Here in the Netherlands they're called Nefits. And their diverter valves are very hard to reach with a normal Allen key, and this works wonders for me. Of course I can put every bit in there that I like. There are some more bits in there. Here I've got a key for certain redheads, and just to get a bleed key also. I've got a stubby 10mm ratcheting wrench. This is by Facom. I don't know. This is a little 4mm hooked screwdriver, and this is for Honeywell diverter valve cartridges. Another turn, shoulder strap, that's in the way. This is nice. This is the this is made by Ox. It's a 10-inch, and it's basically a tiny little hammer. You know, whenever you need to tap something right in there. It's also for prying and removing nails. It's got a pry end on both sides. It came with a really chintzy, sticky little rubber handle. So I gutted some 550 cord, and then there's a little wrap on there, which I prefer. Yeah, I think most guys would actually prefer the rubber handle, but I'm different. I've got another knife. This is a Stanley. I use this to carefully feel between the heat exchangers in valence to see if there is any more crud. I could get a Wiesmann tool, but they're very expensive for what they are, and this works just as well. My journeyman used this too, and neither he nor I or any of my colleagues have ever punctured the heat exchanger. Just be careful. This is a telescopic magnet. Always nice if you drop a screw or one of your tools to retrieve it. This is my good Stanley knife, the 99E. Just old school. Everyone has now the Milwaukee fastbacks and whatever. I prefer this. Nice big handle. Excuse me. Easy to cut with. I like it. There's some spare blades in the handle too. I just prefer this. Very easy to control. And then here at the front again, we go between these pockets. In the top pocket I just have, I don't know if there is anything in there now. Yes, there is just a little sanding cloth to clean pipes before soldering or putting a compression fitting on. And then in this pocket here I keep the alligator clips to my multimeter, full tester, whatever you want to call it, which is in the meter side. And here in the front I have quite a lot of stuff actually. Right up front here I've got my Klein Landsman, which previously I have used to beat on things. I now have the aux bar, but very tough, thick pliers. They have a lot of cutting power. I like them. Here on the side I have two thermostat drivers, a 0.4 by 2.5 and a 0.5 by 3. Here in the top I've got magnetic chucks, 7mm, I've got a Posi 2, I have an 8mm, a 3/8, a 10mm and a 13mm. Then here in the top I have my Torx bit set, 10 to 40, and I have a Malco reversible bit, 1/4 inch, 5/16. I especially use the 1/4 inch on that for certain heaters. Here I've got a 10-inch adjustable wrench by Ariga. This goes to 34 mils, plenty wide for my work. I have a 6-inch Ariga with the slim beaks. It came with a big rubber handle. I took that off so I could fit it in here, and I prefer the look of it that way, and the handle is plenty comfortable without. Also goes to 34 mils. And I have another 6-inch one, and that goes to 24 mils. Also has the slim part. I would have actually preferred this one thicker, you know, with the normal width. I may still get that, but this is ideal for the valent gas wells because it's still quite slim as compared to this, and the nut size on there is 24 mils. Then in the front I have a Malco bit handle, and I have a Makita 10 mil, what do you call it? I guess just a nut driver, not magnetic, so it actually fits over the fits over it. The magnetic ones do not. They don't go deep enough. These are great, very good bits. You can also use them in your impact driver, doesn't hurt them. I love it. And this is a bit handle, so you can actually take it out and put something else in there. So that's great. Then I have 7 and 8 mil nut drivers. These are by Craftsman USA. These are actually made in the USA. You can't buy these anymore unless you get lucky on eBay. I've used and abused these for about two years, yes, and they're holding up great. Love them. Especially use the 7 mil a lot. Only got good things to say about it. Got a channel lock 6-in-1. It's got 5/16 nut driver, 1/4-inch nut driver, a 3/16 and 1/4-inch slotted driver, PH2 and PH1. And this is the only 6-in-1 I have found so far that's actually US made and has the hard handle. I prefer hard handles. I don't like rubberized handles because the rubber will eventually strip off and then you have a very uncomfortable lump of plastic with holes in it. And these hold shape. I love this. I love this. Don't want anything else. Got the shorter Malco handle, don't use it as much, but it carries another of these Makita bits, but this one is 13 mil, which is great. I also have one of these 13 mils, which is about a foot long. Great for replacing taps, because the little nut always is almost always 13 mil. So I got a very long one of these in 13. Works wonders. Love it. Back here I have my 2 big drivers, very large slotted and a PH3, both with the beating caps. These are by Philo, again hard handles. I like them. Philo also does the wood handle drivers, but I wanted the beating cap, even though I prefer the in-hand feel of the wooden handled ones. Also got a 6.5 by Philo. And then back here I've got the Wera Craftform Classics VDE. I don't think they make these anymore, but these are 3.5 and 5.5 mil. And I stripped the first 1.5 inches of insulation off, and I can do almost all my electrical work with just these 2 drivers. You know, the top one is great for terminating, and the bottom one is for the bigger terminations. Almost always slotted in the Netherlands, so works great. Here in the bottom are some bits I don't use too often. That is a 6 mil hex, an 8 mil hex, and 10 mil hex for radiators. This is a red Robertson bit, you know, square drive, whatever you want to call it. Works great. I have 2 of these. One of my favorite tools, channel lock 430. Goes up to about 2 inches when you fully open it. I've tried the Knipex Cobras. No, Knipex Cobras is the correct pronunciation. I just don't like the button. I do not like it. I grew up using, you know, models just like this. Actually, one of these is my original one, which I have had for going on 10 years, I think. I think it's this one. I think it is. This one's very beat up. Handle is not green yet though, but it's has always lived indoors until well, I'm in the trade now for I think 3 years almost. almost 3 years. So that's nice. But yeah, this is I just swear by these channel lock pliers. I don't want any other brand of channel lock, and I got 2 of them because you just need to. Next to that, I've got another brand of screwdriver. This is by PB Swiss, or PB Swiss Tools. This is a Posi 2, and this has a 6-inch shank. I've just gotten this one new this week, actually. Oh, no, this week. And I've used the regular 4-inch shank version, but it was always just a little bit too short for certain boilers. And I was thinking for half a year I just want a 6-inch version, and I finally broke down and got it. And yeah, it's wonderful. But yeah, the logo's still on there. It will get worn off eventually, probably. But yeah, I've got a lot of experience with the 4-inch version. I really enjoy PB Swiss, the classic versions. They're amazing. Also one of the few brands that still do the old school handles. Got a Posi one. Don't need a Posi one often. Every time I encounter a crosshead that's number 1 is Phillips, but I do want a Posi one. Never know when you need it, and it fits neatly in the pocket with that one anyway. Next to that is another PB Swiss driver. This is a 0.8 by 4, and you guys who know PB Swiss would know it doesn't have the special stepped slotted tip. No, this is just a normal one, because the or normal tip in any other brand. The normal PB Swiss tip in the 4mm is 0.6, and I need 0.8 by 4 to open up gas valves to take my measurements. So I just got this one. This is also a little bit longer. Normal ones are 10 centimeters, and this one is 11, so just a little bit longer. Great screwdriver. Use that every day. I use all of this every day, but especially that one. This is also PB Swiss with the classic handle, and this is just for 1/4-inch bits. The really short bits do not fit in the Malco handle. You need 2-inch bits at least. The inch-long bit does not fit in the Malco handle without a bit holder. And I already had this one before the Malco handle, so just kept it. Works great. Machine out of 1 piece. Look at that. Get what you pay for with PB Swiss. Really get what you pay for. And then I'm not gonna take all of these out. I'm just gonna show them to you like this. I've got 7-inch Knipex pliers wrench. Do I use it very often? No, I still prefer to just use my adjustables. It's what I'm used to, but very nice to have for some situations. Next to that, I do have a set of Cobras. I've got the baby ones, the 125s. Sometimes use with like a really small pair of grips. Next to that is another Knipex 160 needle nose with the bent nose. Use that a lot. And next to that, I'm gonna take this one out from here. This is the Engineer PK50, yes, PK50 cropper, made in Japan. I love this. I almost never, since I've gotten this, I've not used my side cutters. Almost not used my side cutters. Let's say that, because this is just amazing for stripping. I use the top hole for stripping and the bottom one for cutting cables and stripping cables. I fucking love this thing. Croppers have changed my life. It was a tip from Amy the Sparky, so look her up on Instagram, to get myself a pair of croppers, and I won't look back. Great tip from her. She's a female electrician, and yeah, I spoke to her on Instagram, and she recommended getting a pair of croppers, and I ended up with these. I believe she has clients, but I can't get those in the Netherlands yet. but the engineers are great and not too expensive either. Next to that is my pair of diagonal cutters. I've just gotten these. I always had these before that. Not this particular set. This is just what I had on my desk. This is the straight set, the 7401-160. And they still make this one, but I was lucky. I walked into a store and they had the 7421-160. Well, you might think, what's the difference? This one has a 12-degree bend to it, and I love that. I used to have a bigger pair of Knipex, or used to have, yeah, I have it in my van still, which was the 200mm or 8-inch version. And I like it, but it's just a bit too big to fit in this tool bag with all the rest of the tools. And then I found out that Knipex used to make a 160 version. And I have looked everywhere, and finally I found a store and they had 3 left, and I bought them all. You know, 1 to use and just 2 as spares for, you know, if this gets damaged or lost, that I have some spares, because I prefer a bent pair of side cutters. It's easy to pull a staple out, or you know, not rub your fingers over the surface that you need to cut something on. I really prefer these. So very glad I have these, but they don't make them anymore, sadly. Knipex, if you ever see this, please take this back into production. Angled side cutters do everything what straight ones can do, and some extra things. So just bring it back. Next to that is a pair of super nips by Knipex. And these are the non-stainless versions, because they can cut a little bit thicker stuff. And you'll notice something. It doesn't open up automatically. That is because I've gotten this brand new. I got it out of the packaging, and the first thing I did was rip that spring out. I hate spring-assisted tools. I do not like them. So yes, no warranty whatsoever on this, if there even was anything. Just rip that straight out, and I've been using it ever since. Works like a dream. I just do not like spring-assisted tools. Your mileage may vary, but as long as there's some spring in there, it's always in your tool bag like this. Step your fingers 3 times on that, and you will toss it out and never look at it again, and cut tie rips with your finger, with your side cutters again, or with a fingernail clipper. So I just took the spring out. Very easy to do. Just take a pair of pliers, rip it out. Didn't hurt the handles one bit. They're still on solid. Haven't fallen off or slidden off yet. So I highly recommend, if you don't like spring-assisted tools and therefore haven't bought a set of these, buy them. Rip the spring out. Works like a dream. Really does. Behind that is my Klein Journeyman long nose plier. Can't really call it a needle nose because it's really thick. It's got stripping holes, it's got a crimper, it's got a screw cutter, which I can't use because I'm in Europe, and these are American sizes. But you know, it's nice that it's there. If you're in America, you can cut your screws with these. Did have a little accident. As you can see, there's a little hole there. I was working live. Don't be a dumbass. Don't be like me. I luckily didn't get a shock, even though these are not electrically insulated. I just got lucky. So, because in the Netherlands, everything's 230, 240. So, you know, you get a good shock if you get shocked. But yeah, for the pliers, these are great. I like them. I use these not as much as the little needle nose with the bend in them, but I do use these to rip out a certain type of sensor in a boiler, or, you know, if I need to be a little bit longer away, or if I need to strip a lot of wire. I usually strip wire with my croppers, the engineer cutters that I talked about. But if I need to strip a lot, I'll take this thing and you know, just mindlessly strip. Next to that, another one of my favorites. This is the Klein, what is, let's say 1005. It's a bit dirty. There it is. These are to you know, crimp electrical connections. In Europe we don't have anything like this. We all use the big ratcheting crimpers, or if you're one of my colleagues, I have a little pump plier over here laying on the ground. He uses the back of his pump pliers. Those are serrated. It doesn't look neat. I get why he does it, because the ratcheting crimpers are very expensive. Boss won't buy them, and I'm not spending 150, 200 bucks on a set of ratcheting crimpers, because one, they're bulky, you're not going to carry them, and you keep on crimping with your pump pliers, and then you have a very expensive pair of crimping pliers in your van that you're not using. So I invested all 30 euros of them in at the time in these do insulated and non-insulated connections. I always use insulated, and you know, I think it's wonderful. I love it. Works like a dream. Don't want anything else. Well, not that it will break. I mean, how can that break? It's a lump of steel. So let's load that side up again. Did I talk about my linesman? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Well, it's all a bit tight, but still zips up fine. If you need to force it, it's too full. Yeah, one of the tapes came loose only. And on this side, this is going to be a long one, guys. I've got my manometer. This is provided by the company. This is made by Kane, which is a subsidiary of UEI. You know, it's a bit big, but it's magnetic on the back, and it reads really good. It's actually just came back, so it's good for a year again. This one too, also company provided. This is a gas leak detector. I don't keep my analyzer in here because the analyzer I got from my company has a touchscreen, because it did fit, and it also has a built-in manometer. But the touchscreen is also the on-off button, so if I put it in the bag, it's empty every time I want to use it. And I can't leave before I do flue gas analysis, so I take that separately with me, so don't think I don't do it. It's just not in my bag. Next to it is my little boat level. This is by Klein. It's magnetic, it's aluminium. It's got this little screw here that you could attach it in a pipe if you're bending. I don't do that, but it's nice to have. I just bought it because it makes magnetic and aluminium, so it's very durable. I like it. It fits perfectly there. And then in this pocket here I've got a putty knife, and I've got a cut down Ramiya knife. These are originally about 16 inches long. I cut it down to 4 inches to, you know, get in some heat exchangers that are too narrow for the putty knife. Why aren't you scraping heat exchangers with a putty knife? Well, I don't scrape, but sometimes it's the only way to really clean something out. I carefully press it between certain heat exchangers, not valence and everything, but you know, the bigger boilers. If you know, you know. Power lock, fairly new one, 16 foot 5 meter. Works great. I love the power locks. I've never used anything else. Don't want to. So that's in there. Next to that, long lighter, the light pilots. Oh, I thought it was out of fuel, but it still works. So that's nice. A little file. This is by Baco, I believe. Yes. I don't use a file often, but this is a little 6-inch file. I took the bulky handle off and just put a wire nut on it so it doesn't go around poking things. And this is a half round ones. In the Netherlands we work a lot with steel pipe instead of copper. For the heating circuit we use steel. So this is nice for cleaning the if the burr's really bad, to clean that out. And you know, for the rest I don't really use it. But you know, sometimes you need a file, so that's why it's in there. Next to that, little brush, clean out burners. Works good. It was about twice as long, the handle, so I put a little heat shrink on there and a wire nut just so it won't tear up my bag. Toothbrush, also for cleaning out heat exchangers. Still a lot of stuff on there. Yeah, works great for in the corners of heat exchangers, like in the Nefit boilers and Remia boilers. The new Remia boilers, awful. Awful. Where did the times go that they made a good boiler? Well, they still do the Quinta, but that's it. This is for my manometer. You know, with a little Y-piece for testing certain things. Here I've got a little bit of copper tube, which carries my zip ties, keeps them all nice and neat. Except that one escaped. Little bastard. Here in the top I have that's a dissonant pack just to keep the rust away from my meters. And I've got the thermocouple for my multimeter and the various jumpers. Under here, these are hex screwdrivers. Let me just pull out one. Also, all three are by PB Swiss. This is a 3mm, the other is 2.5mm, and that's 2 mils for adjusting gas valves. Next to that, these are wonderful. Truly wonderful. These are all by Bontas. 6mm, a 5mm, and a 4mm. And they're 9 inches long. And the 6mm is for the burner doors on Intergas. The 5mm is for Intergas pumps. And the 4mm is for the pumps on all other brands. Intergas needed to be special. I think you can already tell that I don't like Intergas. Fucking stupid boilers. The 4mm is for all the other pumps. A lot of the glass screens on gas fires are also fastened with 4mm hex or Allen. And what more, the low fire adjustment screw on a lot of boilers is also 4mm hex, especially on the Nefits. And this one was a tip from my buddy Ranch, the bearded plumber. Can't speak. The bearded plumber. It's a 6 Nm torque wrench, so it's only for tightening, which is the exact amount that you need on the Nefit Bosch Pro line. All Verdens are 6 Nm, and the Remia Avanta is 7 Nm. But the difference is so little. If you put a new gasket in, you put 6 Nm. It's gas tight, but the Avantas are usually just the Remias are just usually tightened with my nut driver. And recheck with this. If it clicks, I'm fine with it. And I've got another one of the Makita bits on there. This is a 10mm. And this is 6 inches, so look how far that goes. I can just show you. This is 9 inches long, about. So it doesn't go 6 inches deep, but it is 6 inches long, so it goes about 4 inches deep. So that's, you can get over a good long piece of oil thread with that, which is nice, and it gives you a bit of deep reach. And I just keep that in this one for the Valent burner doors. Then I have an O-ring pick, also by PB Swiss. I love PB Swiss, all made in Switzerland too. And this is one with a little hook like so. Only O-ring pick I use. I don't use the 90 degrees, the straight ones, etc. No, the little hook. only use this strangely bent one. It's, in my opinion, the only one you could need, but opinions vary. I've got a little, this is by X-Tech, this is water temperature meter, you know, has to be above 55 degrees at the minimum here in the Netherlands, and not above 80 degrees. 80 degrees is only for farmers, and that's in Celsius, by the way. For normal homes, average about 60 degrees, maximum 65, and at farmers it needs to be 80 degrees at the start, at least, for washing the you know, where they collect the milk. At least that's what I've been told. I'm not an expert for farmers, but you know, I have to measure water temperatures. Next to that is, this is grease for water and gas. This is the only thing Junker still makes. They've been bought out by Bosch. They used to make a lot of things, and now they just make a little grease. This is for gas. There's also one for water. This is not for water, which I just said. This is only for gas. The water one I need to replace. I just used the last bit on Thursday, and I didn't need it on Friday, apparently. I only really use it when replacing a sensor, and if you don't need to replace sensors, you don't need the grease. Next to that, this has saved my ass many a time. This is a Milwaukee Shockwave angled adapter for your drill, but you can of course also use it with a hand bit holder. You know, if you have had one of these, you don't want to be without it, and if you've never used it, you would think, why the hell would you need that? But my colleague has also gotten one, and he told me, I can't believe I have been without one of these for the past 30 years. So that says enough. These things are great. Fits nicely in there. Next to that is just got these last week. Got this last week, and before that I've been using a Bosch light, which used one of the batteries from my drill. And if one battery ran out, I had to use the battery from my light in my drill and work in the dark with a flashlight in my mouth. Not ideal. So I've gotten one of these, got its own battery, can be loaded up, you know, just with a wall adapter, which you use for your smartphone. That's 445 lumens for 2 hours. And if you click again, it goes to 100 lumens, which runs for 11 hours, which is enough. So I just use it on the second setting. It's also magnetic, both on this side and that side, and there is also a clip. I'm a bit iffy about the clip because it's plastic, so I just use the magnet. But yeah, it fits right nice down in there. Behind it, I have a Klein 6-in-1 stubby, the one with the Phillips and slotted. Don't really have a use for a very short Robertson, and otherwise I will just get a 1/4-inch bit, which I should have somewhere in my van. I know for a fact I have it in my van. Actually, just don't remember where, but I've gotten at least a few. And otherwise, I'll go to the supplier and get one. This is just a 6mm masonry bit, most used size for us, and a 6-inch extension, Milwaukee Shockwave. This is the lockable one with the 6mm ball and hex bits. For intergas, I take them, I loosen them with the machine, and I tighten them with the T-handle hex bit, just preference. And then I have one of them bendy bits, Bewera. Don't use this super often, but it has saved my ass. And the only thing I really used for is adjusting gas valves on the very old school Nefit Ecom lines, which have a TX40. So that's what I keep in there. And behind there, I've got my multimeter. This is the one I found. It's the UEI DL389. Does everything I need it to do, and nothing that it doesn't. You know, it measures temperature, microamps, DC, capacitance, continuity, ohms, and volts AC DC, and millivolts DC. Yes, it is not a fluke. But what I hate about fluke is that if I want to buy a meter from them, I always have to get two. So I would have to get a 116 and like a 324 or 323, or is it 520? At least I need to get two separate meters. I can only fit one. I'm not paying for 2 meters if I only need one, so I either buy UEI, and I have another one by Fieldpiece, but this is the one I use at work, and I just don't bother with fluke. I would love a fluke. You know, I have to get these out of America, or the US, I should say, because they don't sell them here in Europe, but it's still cheaper than getting 2 fluke meters. So, and plus, you saw it, I can only fit 1 meter. I'm not going to carry a bigger or separate bag to take my multimeter with me. I already have to carry my flue gas analysis meter in separately. I'm not going to carry more separate things, because I also have to take my buckets. I also have to, you know, not going to carry a whole separate testing bag unless I need to, really need to. I'm not going to do that on every service call. I want 1 bag, 1 bucket, and nothing else. So fluke can suck my dick, so to speak, until they make a meter that can do it all for us plumbers. But fluke hates plumbers, so they won't. Well, I say plumber, but in the Netherlands we have our profession is called installer, but we also do, we're also the service techs. So we do plumbing and HVAC. It's one profession in our country. So there's also no meter for HVAC techs by fluke. Just get one that is microamps, millivolts DC, amps, voltage, continuity, you know, everything this one can, or the Fieldpiece SC440. If you're in gas appliances, I don't think you need microamps in air conditioning, for example, which is something I don't do yet, but will do eventually. And with that, I could get a fluke. So if I would have an air conditioning bag, I would probably get like a fluke amp clamp or whatever, 116 or no 117 or whatever. But for the specific job I do now, I need a meter that does this. And UEI and Fieldpiece make them. Klein does one too, but Klein meters are UEI meters in a black skin instead of a yellow casing. So really not different. So either UEI, Klein, or Fieldpiece. And Fieldpiece are, you know, the most expensive. Are they the best? I don't know. I really like the Fieldpiece, but I find that too expensive to put in my bag, because I won't get a new one from my boss, because I need to order from the US, so that one stays at home. This one goes in the bag. But yeah, if Fluke made one, because Fluke sells a lot in Europe, I'd get it, but they don't, so I won't buy Fluke. Anyway, that's about it. Can I close this with one? No, I can't close that one-handed because of the hoses. But that's it. That's what's in my bag. I've been rambling on for about 45 minutes, so I'll shoot it over there. That's my kit bag. I can do a lot of my work with just this bag. I do have a TP5B. I also have an OTMC, which I use, but this is my main bag, and I really love it. Veto bags I have to get from the UK because they don't sell in the Netherlands, but worth every penny. So that's it. Really don't know how to end this. I'll just switch it off.